Hello viewers, I'm Koala Jimbo and the sideburns are off for the September 2014 edition of No Man's Sky Monthly News. Firstly, I would like to thank all these viewers. For those of you who watched last episode of No Man's Sky Monthly News, it received over 1,300 views. That is to date my most watched video. Also my first and only video to get over 1,000 views. I am absolutely over the moon with the results of that. And I just want to say thank you to everyone who watched it, who liked it, and subscribed afterwards. My subscriber count since uploading that last episode has gone from 91 to 100. That's right, I have also reached 100 subscribers, and I just want to thank you all so much for that. Now, to the No Man's Sky related news. Firstly, I will have to start with this. Most of you are probably going to know this because it was announced very early in August, that No Man's Sky is going to be a timed PlayStation 4 exclusive, which means it will first be released for PlayStation 4. After a given amount of time, it will be released for PC. There are currently no confirmed details for a release on Xbox. Also, on the topic of technology, I'm sure some of you would have heard of Sony's Project Morpheus, a virtual reality headset very similar to the Oculus Rift for the PC. What does this have to do with No Man's Sky, you might ask? Well, some of you might have seen that the IGN did a video based on the Project Morpheus where one of their staff members had one strapped on and they played EVE Online. For those of you who don't know, EVE Online is a first-person space game. Sound familiar? Let me just point out that compatibility between No Man's Sky and the Project Morpheus, while it would be really awesome, it has not even been mentioned by Sony or Sean Murray or anyone of the Hello Games crew. This is merely an observation I am making, because it is said that the Project Morpheus is due to be released after 2014. No Man's Sky is due to be released around 2015. Also, a fair few gameplay features have been announced. For instance, it was said by Sean Murray himself in an interview with PlayStation Access that when you begin the game, you start with the worst ship in the galaxy. Something players will be striving to do once they have started the game with this rickety ship is to earn units, which is currently the game's form of currency. Units are earned by mining ores or plundering other ships and selling the goods to space stations. Once you have the units, you buy ships that are better equipped to your gaming style or to your tactics. For instance, you can get fighting ships specifically for fighting, you can get cargo ships specifically for carrying cargo. It has also been announced that No Man's Sky is going to be somewhat faction based. There will be many factions and clans who wander the universe. They will interact with you based on how you interact with them. If you help a faction out or scratch their back, they will scratch yours and they'll help you out whenever you need it. If however you constantly attack a particular faction, then they will not hesitate to pull the trigger on you when they get the chance. This can somewhat be seen in one of No Man's Sky's gameplay trailers when you are joined by a squad of 3 ships to fight oncoming enemies. It is told that these ships that join you are part of a faction that the player at the time must have been very kind to. Now this is not going to be set up like Fallout New Vegas, where the game tells you these people are your friends, these people are your enemies, these people are neutral towards you. It is rather something that you're gonna have to figure out yourself. If you want to know if a faction is friendly with you or not, I'm sure you can simply approach a small squad of their ships. If they start following you around, they're probably friends. If they shoot at you, they're probably not. Our next bit of news is back to the size of No Man's Sky. It has been announced the part of the code that will procedurally generate the universe is set to generate so many planets that if you were to visit one of these planets every second, it would take over 5 billion years to see every single planet. No rest breaks, just non-stop. And let's just say if anyone does have that kind of time on their hands, let's hope they also have an alternate place to live, because our sun is said to burn out before 5 billion years is up. So basically the only people who will ever see every single planet in No Man's Sky with their own eyes are people who have a lot of life but no life at the same time. While delivering this news, it was implied by the No Man's Sky Facebook page that rocket fuel might be part of the game, as they said that to see every single planet in No Man's Sky would require at least 5 billion years and a lot of rocket fuel. Now, this could just be a joke intended for humorous purposes, or it could be a hint that rocket fuel is going to be part of the game, and that in between your adventures and exploring, you will have to stop at Cyber Shell to fill up. Whether this is fact or rumour, I'm going to leave up to you to decide. Lastly, No Man's Sky received a tweet from a music composer, Peter Robinson, saying that he is very impressed by the project and would love to be involved in the making of the soundtrack. For those of you who don't know Peter Robinson, which unfortunately I do not, he does sort of technological music, from what I've seen of him. I will leave a link to some of his music in the description for you to figure out whether it would make a good addition to the No Man's Sky soundtrack. Now, what I'm assuming is, to his surprise, the founder of Hello Games and the face of No Man's Sky, Sean Murray, actually replied, giving him the company's email address, asking him to email them and to possibly make some kind of arrangement. As you could probably guess, Peter was pretty excited by that response. I would actually like to take a quick moment to just commend Sean Murray for his involvement in community affairs. This is not the first time that he has replied directly to a fan. In fact, before I made my first episode of No Man's Sky News, I emailed Hello Games asking for permission to use their trailer footage, and it was Sean Murray himself who granted me that permission, and for that I'm very grateful. That is it for the news part of this show. However, there was quite an overwhelming community response to the previous video, and I would just like to point out some of the comments that were made. First of all, a comment from Sindred, who asked, if you discover a planet and it disappears, can I revisit it? For those of you who watched last month's episode, would remember that I mentioned that not all the universe exists at once. Only the part of the universe that you are currently visiting exists, and it disappears once you are no longer in that place. Sindred, I apologise if I am not pronouncing your name correctly, wants to know that if they visit a planet and leave, can they return? The answer, as far as I'm concerned, is yes. When you return to that planet, the math will still be the same and it will still generate the planet exactly how you remember it. It will generate the same for you, it will generate the same for anybody else who is to check out that same position. I also had a very lengthy comment from a Professor Butts. To paraphrase the first comment, games like No Man's Sky with huge hype are often letdowns. I'm going to give my own opinion on this. Yes, it is true that some games overhype themselves and viewers are left disappointed by the lack of features that they were promised, or the lack of features that they were hoping to see. However, I do not believe this means that all games are going to overhype themselves. I also have a lot of hope for No Man's Sky because it, unlike a lot of games that have a lot of hype, is made by an indie developer. Big game companies can afford to overhype their work and have people look down on their games afterwards. Big companies like Rockstar or Bethesda or the makers of COD can make mistakes like that and still continue to thrive as a business. Hello Games, on the other hand, are only an indie company, and they are putting everything on the line to make this game a reality. There's a lot more at stake for an indie company when they are hyping their games. So while Sean Murray and Hello Games are giving No Man's Sky a lot of hype, I believe that the expectations will be met simply because if they don't, that will be the end of Hello Games. And I can't imagine they would want that. Another comment made by Professor Butts is, well, there's a strong AI apparently, so maybe I could colonize my planet. I'm going to base my response for this based on what Sean Murray has said in the past. There is not going to be any kind of colonizing aspect to this game, because if there were, it would encourage players to stay on the same planet, which is not what No Man's Sky is about. No Man's Sky is about exploring. They want you to visit a planet, harvest its resources if you can, and then leave. Go and see something totally new. They don't want you to colonize a planet because that will entice you to stay in that planet. He also says, we can upgrade ships, but how? In a Lego, create the separate parts, put them together, build your own unique ship way, or just gain the money and buying speed upgrades, an entirely new ship. Now, while that is not completely clear, I do not think it is going to be a Lego based construction method like you will find in StarMade. Based on the information that we have been given this month, I would assume that it is in fact buying ships the way they are and upgrading their specs. I would like to thank both Sindred and Professor Butts for commenting. If you do have any questions about No Man's Sky or comments about the show, then please leave them in the comments below and I will reply to each and every one of them. And if I find it interesting, I will mention it in next month's episode of No Man's Sky Monthly News. If you have any fan art or knows anyone who does do fan art, then please direct them to a link I'm leaving in the comments below that will take them to the No Man's Sky website. They do ever so enjoy receiving fan mail. If you could also email it to koalajimbo@gmail.com, another email address that will be in the description below, because I would love to receive some fan art for No Man's Sky and showcase it. Because whether the hype for this game is appropriate or not, it is a brilliant concept, and some of the artwork that comes out of it is just phenomenal. Thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you next time.